Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Adams. Welcome back to Make Me Smart, where we make today make sense. It is Friday, March the 14th, and Happy Pi Day, also known as STL Day for all those who celebrate.
STL?
Because our area code is 314 in St.
Oh,
Louis.
man. Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go.
Just embrace it. Embrace it.
Little bit of the country humor there. Anyway, I'm Kyle Ryssdal. Thanks for joining us. Economics on Tap. It's our happy hour episode. That's funny. We call it a weekly happy hour episode, but it's only half an hour. Anyway, we get some news, and then we'll play a game in the second half of the show. We will, however, talk drinks. First, Kimberly, what are you having?
I am, because it's getting close to St. Patrick's Day, and also because I was hanging out with the Irish this week, I'm drinking something green, which is not from Ireland. It's actually a pistachio liqueur that I picked up when I was traveling in Italy. The little bottle even says, "I love Venezia" on it. So yeah, pistachio
how do you feel
liqueur.
about pistachio liqueur? How is it?
I like it. I mean, I've had it before,
right.
which is
Okay.
why I bought copious
okay.
volumes of it when I was in Italy. I like it. I think it's delicious.
All right. Okay.
What about you? What are you drinking?
I'm having I'm number one. It's cold and freezing and raining here in Los Angeles, so I'm a little cranky. I'm a little cranky anyway for reasons that are a whole different podcast. So I'm just having a cup of coffee, and I'm having it in my Starbucks mug that I found on the curb outside my house about 3-4 years ago. So there's that. What's going on?
By the
in
way, can I just say
chat?
how generally impressed I am that you are like unafraid to like just take random things that come your way, given
Well,
how
it's
high
not
profile
like
you
I
are.
drank a glass of yeah. I mean, yeah.
Didn't you
People are
just like
good.
accept a case of beer one time? Like, no
I did.
worries.
I did. I did. People are good. People are good.
Yes, let's believe that. All right,
Anyway,
what's everybody
let's go to
else
the chat.
drinking?
Let's
I'm
see.
gonna look at Discord. You can look
Kenneth-
at the chat.
All right. Kenneth Tethero is having Penthouse Pizza Training Binds Hazy IPA, Austin, Texas. And it's 90 degrees in Austin today. Man, that's crazy. Holy
Steve is
cow.
having a Paloma ready for the spring. I feel
Nice.
that. I have to say, I've
Adriana
been trying
Collins is
to
having
think
Penny's
of.
Edgefield Gin. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's
Trying to think of
actually a
what?
perfect segue because I've been trying to figure out what cocktail I want to have for Cherry Blossom party this year. And all of the recipes I'm finding online for most of the recipes for Cherry Blossom cocktails all have gin in them because you can get like a pink gin and it's floral and all these
You
things.
don't do
And
gin, though, right?
I do not do gin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Neon Firefly is having a Cutwater Strawberry Margarita. Mary Lynn Baker having a
Nice.
Bubbly Burst Cherry Lemonade, which sounds delicious.
It's
What
apparently
else?
80 degrees in Wisconsin. Tyler Stank gave up alcohol for Lent, having carbonated water. 80 degrees in Wisconsin. God. Whew. Holy cow,
Yeah.
man.
But a lot of people have some bad weather coming, so enjoy that warm weather before the
Yeah.
tornadoes come. Good
For
luck.
sure. For sure. All right. Shall we?
Yes, let's do some
News
news.
line?
What you
All right.
got?
All right. Mine is totally off topic because honestly, I just can't with the news right now. I just need a complete and total break, which I will do this weekend. No, I'm not. I won't. I'm kidding myself. I like to think that I will, but I won't. Anyway, there was a multimedia piece in the New York Times the other day, which I keep thinking about. It's about these Siberian ice hunters diving for mammoth tusks in a river up there. You have to see the pictures because it's crazy. Number one, how cold it is, and then these guys are coming up with mammoth tusks from like the Ice Age. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
I'm looking at where they are, and the fact that you just
Yeah.
said they were diving is giving me traumatic flashbacks to when I was doing my advanced scuba certification
Oh yeah.
in the winter. It was in February at a lake in Virginia, and it was
Ooh.
the coldest I have ever been in my life. And this looks colder than it was
Yeah.
at the lake in Virginia in February.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, just the images of how cold it is, and then the idea that these guys are finding things that are tens of thousands of years old. It's wild.
That's
Absolutely wild. And I needed
amazing.
it was a little timeline cleanse for me,
Yeah, we all need those things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was my whole trip to Venice, a timeline
There you go. Right.
cleanse.
Exactly. What do you got news-wise?
Well, now I feel bad because I'm ruining the cleanse.
No, that's all right. I've had my cleanse. Yeah, I've had my cleanse. I'm good.
I just want to note that the Senate confirmation hearings for cabinet secretaries are still ongoing. And there was one today for the person that the president has chosen to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is a
Hmm.
very big, important agency.
Huge.
If you know
Yeah.
anybody who's on Medicare or anybody who is low income or disabled or maybe is a child that happens to be on Medicaid, there are many, many reasons why what happens at this agency matters to many Americans. And the person he has chosen to lead this agency is Dr. Mehmet Oz
Hmm.
of the TV
Yep.
show,
Yes.
who I'm obligated to say many of the products and services and things that he pushed on that show were later debunked or found to be harmful.
Hmm.
It's TV, fine. Um, I
Yeah.
just want to read a little bit of this Politico article about it. Okay. Oz touted 3 reforms to fix the U.S. health system: give patients more information to navigate the system, use artificial intelligence to ease paperwork burdens on doctors, and combat waste, fraud, and abuse. Democrats wanted to have a more grounded discussion. They repeatedly asked about Medicaid, the government insurer for low income and disabled people that Republicans will have to try to cut by tens of billions of dollars per year in order to pay for tax cuts, border security, and defense spending that are on Trump's foremost priorities. They then go on to list a couple of questions that they asked. All of my colleagues want to know, are you going to cut Medicaid? That was from Senator Maria Cantwell. Senator Maggie Hassan wanted to know how many children losing insurance would be acceptable. Senator Ben Ray Lujan of New Mexico wanted to know whether Oz would oppose Medicaid cuts if they hit rural hospitals. Oz wouldn't be pinned down. He said he wanted to
Yeah.
protect care for people who needed it, but he sympathized with Republican senators' concerns that states have raised costs by permitting able-bodied adults to use the program. He TV'd them, and
Yeah.
and this is what many of the Trump nominees, or now, excuse me, hit the microphone, now
Yeah.
secretaries have done, and we did not get answers for what is a very important agency. And I just want to note that happened today, in addition to what is happening at the moment that we are on air with the government funding, which I don't want to talk about.
Yeah. So I said a number of weeks ago, tongue partially in cheek, that we ought to do away with the whole Senate confirmation process. Just snip that bit right out of the Constitution because it's become meaningless and stupid and performative and theatrical. I'm
Okay.
kidding. I'm kidding. But you know what I mean, right?
I
If
mean,
people are willing to get up there and lie and blow smoke up our hoo-has, what are we even doing?
I think it's very interesting. Okay, I am going to talk about the government funding situation that's
Yeah,
happening at
which
this
is
very
fine.
moment.
It's a big deal. It's a
Um,
big deal.
it's a huge deal. We've been talking for months now about Republicans kind of giving up their authority, Republicans in Congress giving up their
Mm-hmm.
authority to
Mm-hmm.
President Trump and
Which,
the executive and to Doge and just rolling over
which
for it.
Which can I just say, sorry to interrupt. The New York Times decided to do a story on today, which is, oh yes, 7.5 weeks into the administration. Okay, go ahead.
And I think it's just worth noting that Democrats are doing the same. They had the
Hmm. Yep.
opportunity here to, and nobody likes a government shutdown. It is harmful. It's bad for the economy. It hurts the remaining federal workers. It is a bad thing. But this was leverage and an opportunity that they chose not to take, and are
Hmm.
signing, some of the Democrats in the Senate are signing off on legislation that they got no input in. And when Democrats controlled the Senate, you and I talked about whether or not Republicans shutting down the government simply because they didn't get any input in, because they didn't have a say, whether how destructive that was. And we talked about when you're in the minority, you use what leverage you have. And Republicans did that on a regular basis and would extract concessions from the Democrats because the Democrats didn't want to shut down the government and this, that, and the other. And they would play ball with Republicans. And the Democrats are not doing that. And so if we are talking about who is voluntarily giving up their authority to the executive branch, we have to include the Democrats as well.
I completely agree. That's a great, great point. I would add only this. The Democratic base is really, really angry for a whole lot of reasons. And one of the things that has now in the last 24 hours made them angrier is that Chuck Schumer and those, it was 8, right, senators or 7 senators who voted with him to let this bill go through. In other words, not to impose cloture rather, and let it go through so it can be a majority vote. The base understands that the Democrats have no power, right? They accept, they're not happy about it, but they accept it. But what they want is somebody to stand up and say, bleep you, man. Just bleep the heck out of you. And Schumer and the Dems just kind of went, meh, you know? Here, scratch my tummy. Let me roll over, right?
Kate Carpenter makes a point and says, not that I agree, but I think it's more the fear that this would not have been a normal shutdown. Of course it wouldn't have. And there's absolutely a chance that what Schumer was worried about would happen, that Trump would use that opportunity to take even more power and make even more cuts to federal agencies. But he's doing it anyway,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Totally agree.
look, there's a reason I'm not
Totally
in
agree.
politics. But
same.
yeah, had to be said.
Same. Totally agree. All right, we're done, I think, with the news. A quick break, and we'll be back.
And we are back. Drew Jostad is here, and that means we're going to play our favorite game, Half Full, Half Empty. Drew, let's do it.
First up, a story from Bloomberg with new data from analytics firm ActiveTrack, that shows the average American workday now ends at 4:39 p.m., which is 42 minutes earlier than it did 2 years ago. Are you half full or half empty on 4:30 being the new 5 o'clock?
I'm actually surprised it's that late in the day. Honestly, I'm just saying.
Well, we did get some data about the decline in hours worked in one of the most recent jobs report, and I remember in our editorial meeting we were talking about wanting to do the story about how there were more people coming in off the sidelines, so discouraged workers were coming back in, but at the same time there were more part-time workers and there was a decline in hours worked, and we were talking about whether or not those things all played together. And as I was interviewing people, I was like, well, what about this decline in hours worked? And they were like, we can't really say much about that because we can't tell from the data if that's people working 4-day work weeks, or is that people choosing better work-life balance, or if it's because people want to work more hours and can't. So that number doesn't give us as much information as we might like. But that's an aside. To this point about
Sorry,
when the
that was
day
just very
ends.
that was very data geeky of you. That's all I'm saying.
I am who I am.
Yep.
I'm half
And
full.
we love you for
I
it.
like people getting home and hopefully
Yeah.
doing something fun, something nourishing for your soul. So half full.
Yep. There you go. Same.
Okay,
next?
Southwest Airlines is announcing it's going to start charging baggage fees on May 28th. Are you half full or half empty?
So this is interesting. I don't fly Southwest a whole lot, but one of the things that set Southwest apart, there were many things that set Southwest apart actually. One was the, two check bags fly free. The other one was no assigned seats. And now Southwest is just like all the other legacy carriers, except you can't get across the country on Southwest unless you stop in like Phoenix and Dallas. Also, no screens on the seat backs. So it's the same as a legacy carrier, except kind of worse. My 2 cents.
I'm really bummed about this because I've flown Southwest quite a bit, and those were the reasons. I liked the lack of assigned seating. I liked the 2 free checked bags, and and also I find the people to be very nice. Like I've never met a mean Southwest flight attendant. I'm sure other people have, but I tend to have very nice experiences. And like when my nephew was traveling by himself, they made him feel very special. He came off and he was
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
I was in first class. Because
Oh, that's so funny.
he thought
That's
that
great.
because he was sitting in the front, he was in first class. but he was a child traveling alone and they wanted to keep an eye on him. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm half
Yeah.
empty on this. I don't necessarily think it's going to be good for their business because they have nothing to differentiate themselves, and it's going to make their the customers that have been loyal to them upset. Although
Yep.
the people who are very loyal to them are still going to get their bags. If you have the Southwest credit card, you get one free
True.
checked bag. If you are a like A-list person, you can still get the two. So their core won't feel it. It's going to be everybody else, and it'll be
That's
interesting
the
to see how
carrot
that
challenge,
affects their
right?
business in the long term.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What's next?
Are you half full or half empty on high-end fruit?
This
I
is
don't know
a
what high-end
$18
fruit
strawberry,
is.
right?
No,
19, but yeah.
really?
$19
Really?
strawberry. I
There's
forget
a
what store it's
What?
at. Go ahead, Drew.
so there's a Japanese. A lot of these fruits, high-end fruits, come from Japan. The store in LA that was selling it was, of course, Erewhon, where you could buy one strawberry from LEMI, is the name of the company, for $19.
That's it. What? Are you kidding? Late stage capitalism, ladies
So
and gentlemen.
it just so happens that I have tried this strawberry because,
And?
or a version of it. I went to a Japanese spirits festival here in DC,
Mm.
where it's like Japanese whiskey and like all these other things. And they were serving, they're like, this is a really high-end strawberry. It's very fancy. I was like, it's a strawberry. And they were trying to like
Yeah.
impress upon me how special this strawberry was. And I was like, okay. And it was good. And then like as the crowd thinned out, they still had like more strawberries. And so I ended up eating quite a few of them. And I didn't realize how much in monetary value I was consuming. Um, I I don't know. It gives very Marie Antoinette vibes.
Kind of
But
does. Kind
so
of
does a lot of
does.
stuff happening, in our lives. Says the woman about to throw a cherry blossom party, but what else?
Well, there you go. Yeah, but it's not going to cost you $19. I'm half empty on $19 strawberries, just for the record.
Oh yeah. I am gonna actually go half full on it because maybe if it's anything like early stage organic foods, rich
Mm.
people overpaying for really nice things can potentially improve bring up the economy of scale to improve the quality and access of things down the chain in the long term.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Going to the poll next.
Going to the poll. Poll, ladies and
The
gentlemen. Poll, poll,
poll.
poll.
All right. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has a new show out on Netflix. Are you half full or half empty on celebrity cooking and lifestyle shows?
Oh, interesting. I thought it was going to be about the Duchess herself. Am I half full or half empty on that?
Celebrity, do
Hmm.
you watch any celebrity lifestyle shows or cooking or
Generally, no. So I'm trying to
I
decide if I have feelings which way
can't
they go.
I can't think of any that I've watched. Um,
Well, so this will be a pure play. It'll be just how we feel about them in general, without specifics on each person. Also, by the way, if Bridget Bodner is listening to this right now, Martha Stewart has kind of, departed the scene, which is why there's this vacancy now that the Duchess is trying to fill. Just that was for you, Bridget. All right, okay, all right. I don't know. I don't know. All right,
um,
let's weigh in here, just because 151
okay,
people are voting.
celebrity
I think we're done.
lifestyle shows. Only because I feel like there's been so much cultural damage done by the Kardashians.
Oh,
But
good
that's not a
point.
cooking show.
No, but it is kind of is that a lifestyle
It's a
show?
life is it is, I guess. I think there is value in shows that can authentically convey that celebrities are people like us with flaws and maybe things don't
Mm-hmm.
always turn out perfect. But when it perpetuates unrealistic standards for how people
Oh, well,
can
yeah, forget it.
live, or when it's like,
Yep.
oh, here's this lovely thing that I made and you can do it too. Secret, 15 staff members help me do all the prep for it.
Yeah,
It
right.
just like,
Yep.
contributes to people feeling less than. And so I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Let me put
C-
Is there a
Co-signed by the
boat coming
boat.
up the harbor? Is that where we are? Okay.
Yes.
Let me put a counterpoint on that, which is inspired by something that went by in the chat faster than I could read it. But I did see Stanley Tucci in there, and that
Oh,
got me to
yeah.
thinking about Anthony
Bourdain.
Bourdain. Now I
That
love
was
Stanley
great.
Tucci as an actor. I don't much care for his Travels Through Italy show, but Anthony Bourdain, on the strength of his character, right, and his writing and kind of who he was, I found really compelling in a not lifestyle kind of way, but an anthropological, cultural kind of way. So,
But was Anthony Bourdain a celebrity because of his show, or was he a celebrity doing a show? And he was a
yeah, good
popular
point.
chef, but I
Yeah, but
don't
he
think he was
became right,
necessarily a
right.
celebrity for everyone prior to that show. Stanley
True, true.
Tucci, a celebrity, then did a show.
Yep,
Um, I'm gonna
yep.
have to go half empty on this because I think it perpetuates unrealistic standards that people actually try to live up to or duplicate, and I don't think that's great for anybody. But that the caveat being, I have not seen this show, and I really don't have a lot of experience with celebrity lifestyle shows in general because I watch anime all day.
Yeah, so I will go. I'll go half empty just because Anthony Bourdain's the only one I can think of that I want to watch. So there you go.
Mm,
The
yeah.
poll came in. Let's see. Half empty on 175 votes, 80%. Half full, 19%. I don't know what the other 1% of you are doing, but that's where we are.
They are
Just,
abstaining.
math's got to work. Math's got to math, people. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, the math is mathing for us. That is a wrap for today. We are going to be back on Monday. Until then, our phone number, 508-UB-SMART. You can reach us there. You can leave us a voicemail, or you can email us, hopefully with a voice memo in there, at makemesmart@marketplace.org.
Make Me Smart, which is the podcast you are listening to, is produced by Courtney Bergseeker. Our intern is Waham Malik. Today's episode was engineered, and you can tell if you're a careful listener, you can tell it's engineering. I'll give you a second to guess. It was Jay Siebold.
Fades in. The team behind our Friday game is Emily McCune, Jamila Huxtable, and Antoinette Brock. Marissa Cabrera is our senior producer. Bridget Bodner is the director of podcasts. And Francesca Levy is the executive director of both digital and on demand.
There you go. Both of them. Both of them.
So